Okay, hello everyone. I want to start out with a little story. Throughout centuries, we've been faced with all these dangerous, highly contagious diseases, and they never really knew a way to stop them. They sometimes came up with cures that didn't work, and the people died anyways. And the first breakthrough we had in this was in the late 1700s. It was at this time that a scientist named Edward Jenner realized that smallpox, which was a dangerous disease, is related to the version cowpox, which affects cows. Well, cowpox really doesn't affect humans that much, so Edward Jenner decided to take the cowpox bacteria and put it in humans, and it actually raised our antibodies against smallpox. And from this day on was the creation of vaccines. Okay. The word vaccine is actually derived from the Latin word for cow, because all great scientists like to use Latin. It's a wonderful language. And a vaccine is a natural way to stimulate your immune system. Our immune system consists of antibodies and antigens, and what happens is a vaccine is usually a lesser version of the virus or a dead version, and the antibodies attach to it and then persist in your system from then on out. So then when an actual live version comes, it could wreak havoc. The antibodies are there, and they'll attack the pathogen, and you'll be fine. Now, in America, we have this thing called mandatory vaccines, where in order to enroll in school districts in all 50 states and the District of Columbia, you have to be up to date on these vaccines, or your children have to be up to date on these vaccines. They include vaccines for measles, mumps, rubella, tetanus, pertussis, which is whooping cough, as well as some other things, like, I don't know if you ever heard of polio, the president had it. These are all very dangerous diseases. However, there's some people that would like to contest that vaccines shouldn't be mandatory because they think it causes some adverse effects in people and would like to link it to things. It was in this speech that I am going to prove that vaccines should be mandatory, they are good for human society, and the adverse effects really don't exist. Okay. The big part of vaccines, or the first big vaccine was polio, was the smallpox vaccine. As I said earlier, Edward Jenner created it. Well, since then we perfected it. They now use an eradicated version of smallpox inside the vaccine. And today in the United States, we have not seen a case since 1949. That's a long time ago. I haven't been alive then. My people that are like 30 weren't alive then. So it's been gone for a while. Then, the last case in the world was actually in 1977, and we can pretty much check smallpox off as eradicated. Some other diseases have also followed this path, like polio. It used to be prevalent in the United States about 50 years ago, and now you don't see much of it anymore. And that's because vaccines are effective at stopping these things. Because, as this one author, Melansack, once said, it's more effective to prevent disease and cure it. The people who want to raise consequences of vaccines try to link them to things like autism, asthma, all kinds of things. Just because, I mean, it doesn't really make sense to inject a baby with something that's potentially harmful. But the thing is, there's been no scientific data correlating to vaccines and these diseases, and they usually come from unaccredited sources. However, the media still loves to take these and run with it and scare the general mass population of America. So this leads to why people are questioning that they should be mandatory. However, actual official agencies hail vaccines. The CDC even said it's the #1 greatest public health achievement in the world. And just to prove that it's so good, we can actually turn to England, because in 2006, they kind of had a little bit of a boo-boo. Everyone in England got on the kick that vaccines were causing autism, which autism did start to rise when vaccines became more prevalent, and people tried to link it to this thing called thimerosal, it's a mercury compound that's found in vaccines. However, they took that compound out, and autism continued to rise, which many people speculate that that's because we changed our definition of autism. And now more people are diagnosed with it because we're realizing that more people actually have it than we did before. But back in 2004, 2005, people in England stopped vaccinating their children for autism. Not for autism, for measles, mumps, and rubella. It was the MMR vaccine. And because they stopped doing this for fears of autism, in about 2006, measles actually came back. And normally you got like 1 or 2 cases a year. Within 2 months, there was 449 cases in London alone. This was the biggest outbreak of measles since the vaccine was first introduced. And sadly, some people did die from it, and it was a traumatic time for England. But this event just goes to show that vaccines are important, and we should keep them mandatory in our society, because unless that specific number of people is met, then we'll lose our inherent ability to fight off the dangerous diseases, because we no longer have that immunity. So, thank you everyone for listening to my speech, and I hope you all have a good day.